Stay breaking on the Rise News. Time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. Let's take a look at This Day, our sister publication. Its leading headline this morning: President Buhari in Yola canvasses support for Tinubu, Binani, and other APC candidates. Tells the Adamawa people Tinubu, Shatima can be trusted to deliver. More headlines. Again, INEC raises the alarm, says insecurity may force cancellation of elections. Meanwhile, six more abducted Edo train passengers rescued. That's on page 5. Above the nameplate of This Day this morning, federal government Port Harcourt refinery to commence partial operation before end of the first quarter.
The Punch newspaper, it's leading with cash limits, customers protest as banks begin enforcement. Scarcity of petrol, federal government orders the NNPC to reduce petrol price. Gunmen demand 620 million naira ransom for abducted train passengers. And pictures from violence in Lagos, unrest, how Yoruba Nation protesters converged at 3 a.m. Members killed. The DSS director's wife orders Kano governor candidates arrest.
Let's take a look at The Nation this morning. Why Nigerians should vote Tinubu and Shatima by President Buhari. Withdrawal policy pushes up POS transaction charges. Polls threatened, INEC warns. Above the nameplate of The Nation this morning, kidnappers demand 620 million naira for 31 victims of Edo train attack.
In the Sun newspaper, INEC fears election shift over insecurity raises the alarm as safety challenges rise. Governor Nyesom Wike of River State explains his anger with the PDP. He says blackmail won't stop him from demanding justice and fairness. Of course, they want the chairman of the party, PDP, to resign. One dead policeman shot as Yoruba Nation rally turns bloody in Lagos. Fuel importation to end by 2024. That's according to the federal government. And terrorists kill scores of security personnel in Kaduna as 6 victims of Edo train attack are rescued.
The leadership this morning: rising insecurity, 2023 elections may be cancelled or postponed, INEC warns. Leadership is also reporting on the front page: media mogul Dokpesi released after incident in London airport. Above the nameplate of Leadership this morning, FCTA reintroduces park and pay policy in Abuja. Meanwhile, the president canvasses votes for Tinubu and Binani in Adamawa State.
The Tribune: a security threat to next election real. That's according to the electoral body INEC. And it says the commission's leaving nothing to chance. 1 kill as Yoruba Nation agitators and police clash in Lagos. New Naira notes now in ATM as cash withdrawal limit takes off. That's debatable. I haven't seen them yet. I wonder if you too have. Hajj Saudi confirms 95,000 slots for Nigeria.
Let's take a look at some international papers now. The Independent leading with Prince Harry says Prince Harry kidnapped by cult of psychotherapy. That's the Duke of Sussex there, giving his latest interview to American television ahead of his book release.
The I-paper: NHS strikes, hopes rise of breakthrough with plan to backdate pay.
Let's bring in Emmanuel Ballo now for the press preview. Emmanuel, good morning. Thanks for being here with us. Let's begin with This Day and its leading headline, taking us to Adamawa State, where President Buhari joined the APC presidential candidate Tinubu and his vice presidential candidate and other APC candidates as well, including Binani, who is set to become Nigeria's first woman elected governor. He's also calling for that support. What are your thoughts on that whole campaign trail that President Buhari joined with the APC?
Yeah, it's a good thing that these days leading with that, especially as not many papers actually took that up. Important story, because this is the first open campaign in the year with the president in the backyard of guess who, Nkechi Atiku. I mean, that's his hometown. So this is bound to actually attract a lot of attention. So, of course, people were fact-checking strongly, especially PDP, were fact-checking that rally, looking at the body language of the president. There was a report yesterday that some of the Tinubu base did not feel that the president really spoke so glowingly of Tinubu, and that they needed that kind of push. But again, Adamawa is one of those states, one of those 10 states that Buhari will be going soon to pitch for the presidency campaign. So maybe he would say the things in the other, but his attention shifted largely on Binani. The lady, the almost enigmatic, charismatic lady in Adamawa State that a lot of people believe will probably emerge as the first female governor. In the history of Buhari likes to be the first in all sort of thing, and he thinks that this administration will be able to do that, and his party will be able to do it. It's reminiscent of Maman Taraba, in Taraba State, the lady, Aisha was a former minister, late now, who, she had the biggest push, it appears, back then, to produce the first female governor. We've not had an elected. We've had people who have actually been acting governors in the past, but someone elected in what looks like a male-dominated, scene. And if that happens, that would be a first, and it would be a plus for the APC. But this Adamawa State, the facts are on ground. It's seen. This is the backyard of the presidential candidate. So Binani will have to deal with all of that, the crisis of, the internal crisis of her party, the problem of, trying to win across in a state that is predominantly PDP, and where the presidential candidate of the PDP is coming from. Those are very, very strong odds against her, and then she has to deal with the crisis of doing this in what looks like a male-dominated, traditional conservative society. It's a huge one. The president is hoping that the APC can pull it off, and as at yesterday, he was really pitching for her.
Speaking of crisis, Emmanuel, the electoral body INEC says insecurity may force cancellation of elections. Are you worried about this?
Well, it's a big story, and all the papers seem to be leading with it. They pushed it to the second lead or so, but the other papers seem to have pushed it to the front burner. Because yes, it's a serious threat to the elections. I think the paper that brought it out in the boldest relief is probably the Punch, that is saying that clearly the elections are in danger. The Nation newspaper is also having that story, but Sun is saying that INEC fears election shift over insecurity. That's what the Sun newspaper is saying, and it brings it out in very clear terms that because of the insecurity, and it's not good news for anyone that is ready for this election. It's just some will say days away, and then we're having this kind of mixed messages from INEC. On one hand, you hear INEC saying, look, they're serious, they're ready for this election. Then you hear this kind of talk about insecurity and the fact that they're not ready. I think Rafsanjani of the CSO said it more clearly when he said, look, this is going to dampen the spirit of citizens. It's going to even lead to some kind of voters' apathy. We don't need to hear this. We need to be getting reassurances from INEC that, look, given all the fundings that it's within, they are in their kitty right now. The federal government the government said, look, we've given INEC everything. And INEC has actually agreed that everything that will be needed for this election is there. But some people say that, well, it's just, pointing to the facts because of those. We just had that train attack just a few days ago. And men and material will be traveling around the country for these elections. And they're saying that if such things persist, if things like those train attacks, things like the kind of crisis you're hearing, the high rate of insecurity, INEC is saying that if that continues, this election might be shifted. Nobody wants to hear that right now. A lot of people are geared, ready to go, just waiting for election day to file out and maybe usher in a new government. So the idea of INEC suddenly saying this, and you can see the wild report in all the papers, it's something that, like the CSO said, that this could dampen voters and actually reduce our enthusiasm towards the election. We need to be hearing more, and I think there should be a pushback by INEC, even though this is coming from them, to reassure us more that these elections can hold.
Yes, Emmanuel, INEC might be ready with all the materials, all the funding, all the manpower. However, if there's insecurity and more rise of insecurity across the country, like we had in Lagos, we had in Edo State, there's really not much that they can do, because people have to travel to their registered wards where they have to vote, and they might have to use the train stations. And we've been reporting that kidnapping that happened at the Edo State, at the Edo train station. And so INEC really is just coming out to speak the facts on ground. If this insecurity continues, if people cannot move around, if people cannot travel freely, if their agents cannot travel freely, there might be voter disenfranchisement. And if people don't come out to vote enough, they might have to cancel some constituencies. So I don't think it's a fact that INEC is not ready on that front.
Well, yes, Nkechi, my point is that, look, like, well, the CSOs are saying, it's not the sort of thing you want to hear, a few days to elections, that you could shift the date. We've lived in this country long enough to know what those shifts and those postponements and those delays can cause. So it's a tough place, I think INEC finds itself. But we should be hearing more from the security agency. What's at the level of preparedness? What degree? The security agency keeps saying that, look, they've got men on ground and they've got it all tied up for these elections. It's a sort of reassurances we should be hearing now. INEC should be telling us more about what they're doing about beavers, what they're doing about PVC, and how they are going about getting ready. To hear the umpire saying that this election could be shifted, that is not even coming from the security agencies, it's coming from INEC. The nation needs to be reassured. I think what voters need right now is to hear from INEC the level of their preparedness and the transparency and the leadership they plan to bring into these elections, to reinforce our belief, our faith in transparent elections. The president keeps saying that this is going to be his biggest gift to the nation, transparent elections, one that is not tainted by any kind of officialdom or what they call federal might. We need to hear more of that. On the other side, in Nkechi, we need to also hear from the security agency what it's doing or what they're doing to ensure that the space is safe enough for all of us.
News broke yesterday about what some papers have described as a delay of the chairman of the dark communication. What more do we know about that?
Well, just it happened Saturday. Then by Sunday or Sunday morning, and then by yesterday, there were more reports that he's been freed. His base is saying that, well, it's not an arrest, that it was a delay, that he was just, he went to see the presidential candidate of his party. He's the top DG of the PDP. Campaign. So they're denying that there had never been an arrest, but whether you like it or not, it actually caused some kind of flutters in the space, in the political space, where people were wondering whether this is going to be another doing Okupe scenario. But it came out yesterday that the person is saying that it wasn't an arrest, and there was a picture of him sitting with his aides and making light of it, that it was just a delay somewhere. It wasn't an arrest and it wasn't an incarceration, and that he's a free man today.
Emmanuel, before we let you go, let's take a look at some of the international papers. Let's take a look at The Independent, focusing on Prince Harry and all his interviews, documentary. He's been speaking out and launching a series of accusations against members of the royal family. What are your thoughts? Well,
some of the things he's saying are probably not really new. I mean, he's dropped that in some kind of interviews in the past. I don't know whether whether you've had time to watch. The book is out soon, and nobody has insight into it. But in various interviews, he's continued to actually double down on some of the things he said about his dad, about the death of his mom, and even the role of the Queen and all that. So it's just, for everyone, it's almost like a lesson. You begin to understand family feuds the way they are, and that a member of the family could just get angry and say it. And everything around this monarchy is always interesting. So I guess a lot of people will pay attention to some of the things he's saying. Monarchists are not really happy about this because they believe that this is betrayal, this is belittling the monarchy, this is bringing out family secrets in the open in the way that most people will not dare do. So all eyes are on the interviews and even the book itself, and already we're not hearing a lot from his dad himself or what they're saying, but it's like they're keeping mom on it on both sides, on that side. So a lot of people are hearing out Harry. I'm sure when it comes out, it won't be the end of the drama, because I'm sure the monarchy will be able to, they will come out and say their own side of the stories and probably balance some of the things that some people are already calling lies and some are saying that they're exaggerations. But we know the stories, they're all there. He's talking about how he was, how he has suffered, himself and his wife, how she was not accepted, the racism that is in the firm, as they call, that seat of power, and all of that. So these are interesting things. Some of them already in the public domain, but probably the book is going to unearth more earth-shattering revelations about the family.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That's the press preview. Let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag AriseDay.